Hi everyone, I'm fmckoa4A. Today I'll be comparing two major conservation websites, the Nature Conservancy and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. So here's a quick overview of what I'll cover. We'll start with some background on each organization, and then I'll walk through the criteria I use to evaluate the websites. After that, we'll look at each site individually and then compare them side by side. And finally, I'll share some concluding thoughts and recommendations. So the Nature Conservancy, or TNC, is a global nonprofit working in over 70 countries. Their mission focuses on protecting land and water, addressing climate change, and connecting people with nature. Since their audience includes the general public, such as donors, educators, and volunteers, their website is designed to encourage engagement and accessibility. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, or USFWS, is a federal agency under the United States Department of the Interior. It's responsible for protecting endangered species, managing national wildlife refuges, and enforcing conservation laws. So this slightly differs from the more community engagement mission of the Nature Conservancy. Their website reflects a public service orientation with deep resources for researchers, professionals, and anyone needing official environmental data. So to compare these websites, I focused on 4 criteria: ease of navigation, how easy is it to get the information you need, visual design and layout, are the pages clear, appealing, and overall aesthetically pleasing, educational content, how well are the key ideas communicated, especially with the target audience, and interactivity and tools. So does the site offer unique features that let users take action or explore more deeply? So we'll start with the Nature Conservancy. Their website has a pretty clean layout. It has this really prominent top menu. And you'll notice that 2 of the 4 buttons in this menu are Get Involved and Membership and Given, which have to do with community engagement and support. This contrasts with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, which we will see later. Otherwise, the homepage highlights their mission and current projects, and it clearly points users towards ways to take action with that Get Involved button. TNC does really well at turning their work into stories. And the website's full of these great articles that are nice and short and easy to digest, and have these great infographics and videos and photos in them. Another great feature of their website is this interactive map, which is pictured there on the left, of nature reserves and parks that the Nature Conservancy owns, and this lets the visitors explore places that they can visit in person to engage with the organization. There's even a cool button right on the homepage that says, see our work in your state. In this case, it says North Carolina, but it uses your location to personalize the experience to your state. And these elements make that conservation that they do feel tangible and local. It's also extremely easy to get involved through the TNC's website. Every page features prominent donate and volunteer buttons, and action-based content like petitions or climate pledges are usually just a few clicks away. The site is also fully mobile-friendly, which is nice. So overall, the navigation's pretty smooth, the pages are well organized, and the tone really invites users to make a difference. So the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service homepage is full of really useful content, but it can be pretty overwhelming, especially for a first-time or more casual user. The navigation runs really deep with many, many layers of links, and it's not always so intuitive. A key detail to note is that the first tab in their top menu is Services, which signals that the agency is built to serve the public and other institutions, which makes sense being a federal institution. So this contrasts from the TNC. They lead their top menu with calls to action like Donate, which highlights their dependence on public support. Where the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service website really stands out is in the depth of scientific and policy information you can access. You can search for virtually any animal species, for example, and you can find these really detailed profiles featuring lots of great things like habitat needs or management recommendations, recovery plans, etc. So I have the page for the red wolf pulled up there on the bottom left. You can even find a policy timeline for each species that kind of shows key regulatory milestones for that species over the years. And again, I have the red wolves pulled up there on the bottom right. This tool makes the site a valuable resource for researchers, conservationists, policymakers, and otherwise wildlife professionals. But these pages can be really dense and text-heavy, and there's fewer visuals, and it can be pretty overwhelming if you're just a casual visitor. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service website also includes some pretty practical interactive tools. So for example, they have a Find a Refuge locator, which helps users find nearby wildlife refuges. But the map is pretty basic visually, especially in contrast with the Nature Conservancy's interactive map. Another great feature is an interactive job map, which displays current career opportunities across different regions and offices, which makes it really easy to explore federal conservation careers geographically. So although these tools are useful, the site generally lacks strong calls to action or engage in features for more casual users, especially in comparison to the Nature Conservancy. So here's kind of a side-by-side comparison on how the two sites stack up to each other. For navigation, the TNC website is simple and user-friendly. U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service is a lot deeper in info, but it's a lot more complex. For visual design, TNC is a lot more modern and engaging, and overall I'd say aesthetically pleasing. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service website, it's functional but very text-heavy. For educational content, TNC focuses on pretty general audiences and has content geared to such. U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service has content geared towards professionals, which isn't as digestible by the general public. For interactivity, TNC has a lot of great interactive tools like maps and buttons, and U.S. Fish and Wildlife also has a lot of great tools, but they tend to be more static and formal. So which site is better? It depends on who you are and what your needs are. If you're a student, educator, or just a general member of the public, TNC is more approachable and action-driven. If you're a researcher or policy expert or otherwise a wildlife professional, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service website provides the detailed information that you're going to need. And so ideally, users could use both. You could gain knowledge, that really in-depth knowledge from U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service website, and then turn that insight into action through the Nature Conservancy's website. So if you want to explore these websites for yourself, I have the links in this slide, and thank you for listening.